The next drawing we're going to do is the same process that we used for the symmetrical object. We're going to draw an object though that's turned away at an angle. So the forms of the object won't be symmetrical. So I'm going to draw a little statue of a pig, little toy that I have around the house. And the first thing I'm going to do is find the baseline where the feet hit the table. So what I'm going to do is hold my pencil up and adjust it so it hits the angle that I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at the pig, I'm going to turn it until it follows the angle of the feet where it hits the table of the pig. So I'm going to hold my pencil up, line it up with the bottom of the pig. I'm going to transfer the angle over here just like this and put a line for that. This line's called an axis line. If I want to be more precise when I transfer the angle, what I can do is hold my pencil at a vertical, then line up my finger along the angle of the base of the bottom of the pig where the feet hit the stage. So if I do that, I'm going to check it, come over here, go like this, and when I do that, it's a little bit flatter. So sometimes if you just use your pencil and just walk it over to your paper, you can get a slightly off angle. If you do the thing where you hold your finger up, your finger up as a pencil, hold your pencil up as a vertical, then place your finger along the base of the object, you can transfer the angle more accurately. So I'm going to do a block in. I'm going to use that axis line as a guide for the feet. I've got an angle between these two legs also, so I'm going to measure that. When I do that, I get an angle that goes across like this. So again, with a block in, it's not anything that you're going to hold on to. You're not going to be trying to make it into a finished drawing. It's just to get started. So the head of the pig is turned away from me a lot. So this is turning into a very short shape up here. It's not very wide. Okay, I've got the tail up over here. I'm going to mark that. So that's a block in of a pig. Notice the lines are fairly light. Don't want to commit too much at this point. So one thing I can check is the width of the pig versus the height of the pig. So how wide is it versus how tall is it? So I'm going to measure that. I'm going to compare this versus this. When I do that, they're about the same. Okay. So then I'm going to look, so I know that this is about right compared to this width out over here. Next thing I'm going to do is compare this height here to the length of the pig. So what I'm going to do is hold my pencil up so it looks like the tip of my pencil is here, my thumb is here. And then what I'm going to do is mark that along the base of the pig and see how many I get. So right now what I've blocked in, just faking it, is that the height of the pig from here to here is the same as from this leg to this leg. So I'm going to measure it on the pig with my pencil and see if that's accurate. And when I do that, I find that it is pretty accurate. This length from here to here is about the same as from here to here. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is measure the gap between the two legs. So I'm going to line that up, and when I do that, it's about from here to here is about the same as from here to here, so that's pretty accurate. So my block-in is fairly good. I'm going to check out the length of the head versus something on the back end, like the width of the leg. So about like this is about the same as this. So I've gotten a little too short, so I could take this out a little farther. Okay, so I've made my adjustment by measuring this width against this width using the pencil. Okay. So I'm going to do my second block in. I'm going to go for a few more details, and but I know that this part here is pretty accurate. So I'm using mostly straight line shapes, even though this is a round object. And that just allows me to go a little bit faster and get a rough idea. And again, I'm not trying to get too committed to what I'm doing with these lines. I'm just trying to map out the surface of the object, get the basic shapes and planes of the object. So that's what the blocking is for, is to get the basic shapes on there, to break the object up into top and side planes, so it starts looking three-dimensional fairly quickly. The benefit of working like this is that you can make a lot of mistakes and leave it rough for a long time and then gradually refine it. So it doesn't have to be perfect inch by inch as you go along. It gradually gets better. So that's the second block, and you can see it sort of coming into shape a little more. Now if I think that's pretty accurate, what I'm going to do now is put my final lines on. So I'm going to go darker. Again, I can also erase a bit. So these are fairly dark lines, so I'm going to take my kneaded eraser. The kneaded eraser doesn't grind the paper, so you don't have to fight with a texture that is kind of rough and difficult to draw over. It just kind of lightens up the lines. So if at some point I can't get something to fit on the paper, it seems like it's the wrong size, I can always remeasure and rework it. I might notice extra details. For instance, there's a bit of the belly that hangs down underneath here. This is curving up. So that's something I hadn't noticed before. This is curving like this, goes back like this, goes under. So I'm trying for all these extra little curves that I didn't see before. This is fuller than I have it. So this is going to come up in here like this. The nose is broken, so it's making it look make this look a little bit more like a rhino than a pig, but it's a broken pig. I didn't do much with the tail before, so I'm going to do a little bit of a block in on here. I need a little bit of guidance. So again, this is a detail I didn't really consider. So I'm going to do the plane that's facing me and then the side plane. Then I get a little bit of an indentation here. And then I can go back in and try to curve the lines on here. Get them a little more precise. Give myself a guideline. So the idea with this technique is that you gradually get closer and closer to a finished drawing. You don't try to make it perfect from square one, so that you can make mistakes and fix them as you go along.